Welcome to Chargers Unleashed. Dan Wolkenstein here from the LA Football Network. While Jake is still on vacation, this episode is brought to you by Rock Solid Sports Memorabilia, Mint, Aura, Athletic Greens, and Bet Online. If this is your first time tuning into the show, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Apple, and all of your podcast platforms, as well as Twitter or X at LAC_Unleashed. Day 12 of training camp is in the books. I was out there doing my best to kind of provide all of the takeaways, updates, key things from today's practice and press conferences. A lot to get through today. We'll get through some takeaways in terms of who's on and off the field. Josh Palmer did seem to get nicked up a bit today. Brandon Staley talked about it at the press conference. We'll find out more as the days progress. We did get to see some players back in action. You saw Trey Pipkins back out there. You saw J.C. Jackson, Sebastian Joseph Day sighting as well. Dustin Hopkins was out kicking on the side field. But a bunch of takeaways. We saw the offense flourishing in a big way today. Justin Herbert balling out. A bunch of situational practices being taken into account for the Chargers coaching staff. You saw some tackling drills. You also saw some 7-minute offense with the Chargers offense down 2 scores, needing to make things happen. And spoiler alert, they did. So a bunch of takeaways, a bunch of the secondary getting some action as well. But before we get into any of that, we need the podium talk. Brandon Staley, Jazeer Taylor, Eats the Stick, we're all out there. Before we get to that, I want to talk to you about our friends over at Mint Mobile, sponsors of the show. Honestly, guys, gals, look at your phone bill from last month and tell me how much more it is than $15. Look, Ryan Reynolds is one of the co-owners of Mint Mobile. You can get $15 of unlimited wireless 5G coverage nationally using Mint Mobile for 3 months. And honestly, I don't know why you wouldn't at least check it out and try it. So before we go any further, I want to talk about our friends over at Mint Mobile. Give us 45 seconds. We'll be back to talk all things Chargers training camp, day 12 takeaways.
If you've ever thought, why in the world is my wireless bill so damn high? Then let me tell you about our friends over at Mint Mobile who we're partnering with for today's video. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for as low as $15 a month, and you don't have to sacrifice any coverage, speed, or data. They're built on the nation's largest 5G network, so they keep costs low by selling directly to you online. They cut out the retail stores and the salespeople. All Mint Mobile plans include unlimited nationwide talk and text, plus lightning-fast 5G and free mobile hotspot. So why should you have to pay for more than you have to access the same network? It only takes 15 minutes to switch, and you'll be paying as low as $15 a month for your phone plan. It really is that simple. So use the link in the description below. Try mintmobile.com/Chargers Unleashed to get started. Click the link in the description below or scan the QR code.
All right, so I'm going to do my best to kind of go through this thing in real time as I saw it out there in practice today. First thing you notice, I mentioned at the top, you saw Trey Pipkins, SJD, and J.C. Jackson all back out there. John Hightower, though, the camp darling, the probably one of the biggest impressors so far in camp, was not out there. It seems like he may have gotten something tweaked last practice yesterday. Was not seen at all out there today. I didn't catch if he was on the far field off to the side or not, but John Hightower was not there. I'm not sure if it's preventative. I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but I think he may have tweaked something yesterday. At least that's what I heard. Otherwise, Dustin Hopkins was out there as well. And I guess another injury note, unfortunately, Josh Palmer did go down with some sort of injury. It's kind of a weird one in how it took place. Incredible corner of the end zone catch by Josh Palmer from Justin Herbert. Came down, did a little celebration, seemed fine, kind of walked it off the sidelines, walked off a little gingerly. Didn't notice anything that crazy. And then later on, maybe 5 minutes later, you see him and the trainer walking into the tent. In the tent for a long time. Brandon Staley was asked about it. Josh Palmer did not return to practice. It was reported he was walking gingerly to the bus. Not sure the severity at all, but Staley mentioned that we should know more once they find out more, but there was no kind of sure response as to what happened. You hope that he's okay. Again, we don't know at this point, but Josh Palmer did walk over to the medical tent. He didn't seem to be injured immediately. Like it wasn't anything that was like a very severe, at least optics wise, but it happened. So hopefully he's okay. And if he misses some time, hopefully it's nothing that would leak into start of the season. Who knows? Otherwise, I think that's kind of it for the kind of the Knicks of training camp. Um, Otherwise, it's unfortunate because Josh Palmer actually had a really good day today. I would say for key themes today, we kind of talked about how at the scrimmage, the Chargers offense was looking a little sluggish, and the offensive line was down a bunch of guys. The defense was just pinning their ears back. You saw a whole bunch of sacks. Today, however, offense was cooking, and you saw explosive plays from almost every weapon. You saw ones from, at least on the receiving side, you saw ones from Josh Palmer. Mike Williams had incredible catches, one-handed catches, jumping, leaping, above the rim stuff. Uh, just insane Mike Williams things were happening today. Keenan Allen doing Keenan Allen things. Gerald Everett had a day today. Justin Herbert looked on fire. There was one pass that I saw Justin Herbert miss deep to Mike Williams. Mike Williams was open. He just missed him. But the offensive playmakers balled out today. And the offense in particular was given a situation in which they were down 14 points with 7 minutes to go. And offense had to go down the field twice, and defense had to stop them. Offense first drive goes right down the field, capped off with a Gerald Everett kind of seam route. Beautiful throw and catch, looked great. Second drive, offense goes, and Keenan Allen turning out yards, and the clock's ticking, and you can tell like this is pretty fiery. And it gets down to maybe, I want to say, like less than 5 seconds, and Justin Herbert's rolling out, finds Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen runs into the end zone or towards the end zone, blow the whistle, Chargers score. And because of the previous touchdown that they scored, Gerald Everett also scored a 2-point conversion. So they were technically down 6 points at this point. Scored the touchdown with literally 1 point something seconds left. And if they were to have kicked the extra point, they would have been up 1. Offense comes out with a victory. Although David Moa and Chris Rumpf both ended up getting sacks, didn't go to much avail as the offense was able to overcome it. And it didn't end without some kind of controversy, because as that play transpired towards the end, the defense started chirping, and you saw the offense, pleading their case for it being a touchdown. I think it was a controversial spot, it seemed. Offense was all saying it was a touchdown. Defense was saying that it was short of the goal line. You saw many different defensive players kind of yelling at the offense to come back on the field, and they weren't done, and to run it back. Chris Rumpf was one of the guys kind of telling them, and again, like these guys care, and it's competitive, and they all are trying to make an impact here. Coach Staley confirmed afterwards that it was indeed a touchdown, but it does go to show how much these guys care about it. On the defensive side, I will say, good day for some. Asante Samuel Jr. had a couple great reps against Mike Williams, one of which was a pass breakup in the corner of the end zone. It's amazing the size difference of those, but how physical Asante Samuel Jr. can be in coverage. I think it's one of his strengths. Josh Palmer had an incredible catch, which I talked about here a second ago. Overall, though, I think the safety depth, you saw JT Woods and Mark Webb both get really impressive pass breakups today. And that safety group is looking to be quite the battle. And we talked about Raheem Lane, we talked about him yesterday. Raheem Lane had a golden opportunity for interception today. Ball went right through his hands. I think it was overthrown to Donald Parham, I believe. Right through Raheem Lane's hands, ends up going harmlessly to the ground. The safety 3-4 battle behind Derwin James and Alohi Gilman, flip a coin at this point. Raheem Lane, probably the front runner for safety 3. no clue about safety four between Mark Webb and JT Woods. JT Woods had a really instinctual pass breakup today in the middle of the field that I think gives you kind of a glimpse into what could potentially be there for him. But again, like I think you're going to see huge. Like there's a lot at stake this coming Saturday for some of these players. I think the running back room specifically. I think Joshua Kelley had a really good run today up the middle for a big chunk. But the running back room, the safety room, probably the interior defensive line group, all of those guys are in for a very, very important preseason action. So we'll see what happens. I'm curious how this wide receiving core looks for Saturday, given the unknowns of Josh Palmer and the unknowns of John Hightower. Who are we going to see out there? Like, I don't think we're going to see Mike Williams and Keenan Allen much, if at all. I would imagine you'll see Quentin Johnston for a little bit, but probably not a ton. But then after that, John Hightower was a name you heard a bunch, but I'm not sure if he's going to play. Josh Palmer was a name you heard a bunch. We talked about that wide receiver 3-4 battle. Not sure if he's going to be able to be out there. So there could be a whole bunch of, Darius Davis, Darius Shepard, Keelan Doss, those kinds of names. So don't be surprised if the wide receiving core looks very different than what you're seeing out at training camp. Also, don't be alarmed, but they want to make sure they play it safe to where these guys are ready for week one. Week one of preseason is a different story, and it doesn't nearly hold as much weight for those guys. Easton Stick and Max Duggan both are going to be the quarterbacks on Saturday against the Rams, so look for that. That's pretty much the key takeaways. There was, we talked about ad nauseum the emphasis and the priority that this coaching staff is putting on tackling. And there's been many drills the coaching staff has done to try to simulate different game situations in which tackling would be most important. You saw it again today, actually, with the linebackers and running backs group kind of practicing running back catching the ball out of the backfield, linebackers swarm tackling off to the sideline. And you saw every running back linebacker combo kind of go through that drill. And for good reason, because you think back to how many times the defense kind of let the offense leak through, whether it's for a first down, chunk touchdown, you name it. Tackling's big. And I think talking about operation, talking about kind of like the fundamentals of football, you could tell how important that is to Derek Ansley and to Kellen Moore. Fundamentals in the operation, getting it right. Speaking of Derek Ansley at the podium today, Brandon Staley did note that Derek Ansley, defensive coordinator, is going to be calling some of the defensive plays this Saturday against the Rams. And kind of he noted giving folks opportunities to kind of do more. I don't recall Ronaldo Hill ever calling defensive plays, or at least head coach Brandon Staley discussing that publicly. And so I think this could be just another example of the confidence and, the rising stardom of a one Derek Ansley on this defense. And look, you heard, I think it was Derwin James yesterday when talking to Kay Adams, grinning ear to ear the second Derek Ansley was mentioned. Derek Ansley's a good one, and you could tell. And this team feeds off of him. So interesting development. We could see more and more of a Derek Ansley-led defense in terms of play calling. First step, though, this Saturday, we'll see him just calling some of the plays. It won't be all of them, but some of the plays against the Rams on Saturday. Otherwise, I think that kind of covers it. Today at camp was probably the coolest day that these Chargers players have had since training camp started. So, again, keeping these short and sweet, trying to keep these as kind of focused and as kind of punctual as possible so people can get as many kind of quick little nuggets as possible. But again, I think if it was up to me, I think the key takeaways from today, Josh Palmer injury, watch for it. We'll see what happens. John Hightower, we'll see where he comes back, if he comes back, when that will be. Offense won today. I don't think it's even close. Situationally, playmaking, Justin Herbert was on point. The wide receivers all look great. Donald Parham. Didn't see much for him today, but Gerald Everett was all over the place today. Running back seems to do a little bit better today. There really wasn't much from the defense. Michael Davis did have an interception. Sante Samuel Jr. had an interception off of a off a bobbled reception by Keenan Allen. Went off his hands, bobbled a couple times, went right into Sante Samuel Jr.'s hands at the goal line. But overall, I think offense won today. And I think given how back and forth this has gone, it's kind of nice to see the offense just chucking it. And you saw deep balls all over the place. And covering the team and seeing that just happen constantly, I think Dana Popper talked about it when he was on our show. He mentioned kind of like structurally, Kellen Moore created this environment for Justin Herbert to be able to throw the ball downfield more. But the question is, would he actually do it? And emphatically, the answer is yes so far. So we'll see how that translates, if it translates, when it translates. But so far, so good from Costa Mesa and from Chargers camp in the explosion department. That's going to do it. Still have the giveaway going for Quentin Johnston signed jersey on LAC_unleashed pinned tweet. You'll see it. You get that like and subscribe on YouTube, and then retweet the tweet to enter for the giveaway. Again, the Bolt Show, we have a live show coming up early September. We'll be doing a live event from the Bolt Show memorabilia signing event. Hot off the press, Darren Sproles was actually added to that. So you have a chance to talk to a little Jitterbug as well. But that's going to do it for Chargers Unleashed today. Aloha, Jake. Wish you were here, but obviously you're over there enjoying the sunshine and rainbows and everything else that comes with a vacation. Exciting times. We got Chargers preseason game 1 coming up here in 2 days, which is wild. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. But until then, you can follow me at DanW Sports, Chargers Unleashed, LA Football Network. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you next time on Chargers Unleashed.